This is part two. I had to handle a situation real quick. But to get back to what I was saying about the Charlie Kirk situation, and oh yeah, I was using myself as an example of, when about the DEI, the whole thing. But at the same time, like I was saying, is that on other people's views of it, you gotta understand is that a lot of people deal with prejudice or racism, because there is a difference of prejudice and racism, right? And I deal with a lot of prejudice when it comes to the workforce. Now, I would say the past 3 years has been out of control, right? I even go back to the last job I just had. I was doing hydrovac. I wasn't late not one day. Uh, there was like maybe 5 or 6 guys there. There was only 2 dudes that were better than me at the job, and that was my first time even doing that. So they ended up firing me and this is in the middle of July, hot as hell out. We're on a work site, and I was fired for drinking too many waters and too many electrolyte freezies. So where does that make sense? And I had one of the mentors refusing to train me, and we had no issues and nothing like that. And again, prejudice. I can get into more, depth, is that a lot of these older white guys are very prejudiced, very racist. They'll sit there, they'll look at me and look at a minority as the same, and pretty much say F me because I have the tattoos, I got the way I talk, the way I am, coming from the hood. You know what I mean? And this is one of the things a lot of people don't talk about, is that there is a lot of white people that come from the hood, that grew up in the hood, poor as fuck too, and we got to deal with shit like that. So, that's one of the things I would have loved to have a conversation with him about. Honestly, I would have loved to have a conversation with Charlie and seen what he would have said, what his response would have been. Because that's a whole nother thing. The news only pretty much does one versus one, one group versus another group. They don't get in depth of how this world really is. And that's why I said a lot of the older white people are very prejudiced, very prejudiced. Every color has racism when it comes down to it. You know what I mean? So, but this people need to start realizing that if people want things better in life, right, it's only going to work when we work together and honestly care about what's going on with the next person. Genuinely care. If we want things to become better, we got to do better. You got so many people that sit there on the internet, they'll tell people, get out of my country, and if you don't like it here, get out of here, right? But 90% of you are all immigrants. Every single one of us, right? With Charlie Kirk, my bad, I said fucking Kirk, he did bring up a scenario where, and this is never said, is that, he did bring up how a lot of Polish and Irish people descent, and I'm Polish, Jordanian, but a lot of my family's still in Poland, that he brought up about how a lot of us weren't even here when slavery was going on and stuff like that. So there is a lot of people like that we got to take on a responsibility of other people's actions, which is technically a lot of people that were from England and Spain. They're honestly the ones to blame, and I don't know why that never comes up. Never ever comes up. But you have ignorant people like that sit there and say them stupid ass comments when they're so stupid themselves. And I don't know if you want to say they're uneducated or they're just dumb. Everybody's family at one point were all immigrants. All of us. All of us had to go through it, but that doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it right. Not one bit. And I just don't get why people do it. Like, I get it. I also agree that, yeah, there should be a limitation on immigrants until we get America right, because America ain't right. We don't take care of our own people. Barely. Yeah, they give them food, give people food stamps and a little bit of assistance, but what is that doing? Ain't doing nothing, honestly. And I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm none of that. I've only voted one time in my life. Like I said, I don't get into politics. I don't do it because it brings the weirdest thing out of people. And the majority of this world, they're so head over heels with it. And I think it's weird. But people might think I'm weird for not really caring about it. Because I look at things as if the people, us, aren't going to change, nothing with the government's going to change. If we, the people, don't stand together and change, that's never going to change. And then they pin us all against each other and keep us distracted with that instead of us sitting here fighting together, trying to make things better for the economy, try to bring up the pay for people, because that's what, if you're doing a certain job, like if I got my CDL, if I'm doing that, I should be getting paid a hell of a lot more money than what I'm making. And then we're getting taxed like crazy. It's insane. But see, these are things we should be fighting for. But people sit here and fight over, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican, I'm this, I'm that, I'm trans, I'm this, I'm that. Like, bro, fuck all that. We gotta become better. Honestly, all of us, even myself. I've done so much growing as an individual, it's out of control. But you know, I just wish people honestly would do better. And like I said, I would have loved to have debate that man or had a conversation with him, and even talked about the prejudice I feel like that happens with a lot of poor white people. You know, and if people think there's not racism, there's definitely racism. Is it where people are being also put in a certain area, and those things definitely happen where people were kind of held back. But then also, again, I grew up in the hood, bro. You ain't gonna tell me no different. The majority of us, especially 80s, 90s, like a lot of us weren't doing nothing to get up out that situation. We just let it consume us. We let it all consume us. And I get it though. I get it. I get it because everything's going on. We're just trying to survive in that moment. We got this going on, that going on. This people beefing. We're losing all of our friends. Like all my best friends are dead, pretty much. Like legit. But see, that's where things need to get better at too. But see, you get ignorant people that say, hey, well, everybody's killing each other and they're idiots and this and this and that. And it's like, bro, if let 3 of your best friends get killed, and what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Just let it go? I get it. Some people don't think like that. But again, if people stop sitting there and looking down on everybody or feeling like everybody is above each other, we would do better. But again, I think it's crazy that people are sitting there and laughing at the situation on the internet. They're doing it to get likes. They're doing it to get comments. And at the end of the day, motivation is they're trying to just get money off of it. And it's kind of crazy. And you know what? If these posts that I'm seeing are real, that people are really getting fired, they should be. They should be. I'm grown now. I used to be retarded as hell. I would sit there and, the plane crash? Oh, well, fuck them, right? But that's stupidity. That was me trying to get attention too on top of it. Because all I knew was negative attention. Because I ain't getting none. But I'm not going to go there because that's kid shit. But just use it as an example. I honestly, I got a lot of opinions when it comes to this world and us as a people, us as a whole. And like I said, I understand both sides. I know how I grew up, and I get it. But then at the same time, too, you got, all the suburban people that sit there and try and down talk everybody. Y'all need to really look in the mirror and really rethink, reprogram your brain. You guys just are so slick at the mouth, like nobody could touch y'all. And that's why when you see these videos floating around, seeing the Karens getting beat up, and they just feel like they're entitled. That's the entitlement. You feel like you can say something and not get touched. That's why a couple of these incidents I had, these women sit here talking crazy, and it's like, yo, nobody has walked up and just punched you in the mouth. But again, we gotta come together. We really do. It might sound cliche, but if people want change, we have to change. All of us. It's not just one color, it's everybody. We should be getting better pay when it comes to especially certain jobs. We're sitting here wasting our life away with working. We're missing a lot of moments with our kids, just a lot of moments in life in general. Like, we have to sit here and work to provide. And some people go through life and don't even get to really experience it. But this is Body Bags. I'm out. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe. Tell me how y'all feel. If y'all talk shit, I'll talk shit back. Let's get it. But honestly, I think I'm going to start making more videos like this, though. Y'all have a good one.